I haven't watched Game of Thrones in years, largely because the last episode of Season 4 demonstrated that the creators have no understanding of any of the characters, the arc of the story, or even the basics of how to craft drama. I've been mildly curious to see just how bad the show could get, though, so I check in on reviews and impression pieces from time to time. So I've been aware of Starbucks Gate, no military tactics whatsoever Gate, and everyone being a goddamn idiot all the goddamn time Gate. Just like everyone else on the planet. The show crossed a line, though, and motivated me to make a video about it when I heard about Ghostgate. Not the main thing people were talking about. That's self-evident. Why isn't that monster petting his adorable puppy? But the plot of that scene, which is so dire that it not only betrays all of the characters involved, but one of the central themes of the entire show. Here's the moment I'm talking about. What the hell are you talking about, Tormund? Why are you nostalgic for North of the Wall? Do you think wildlings have spent thousands of years trying to break through the wall because it's awesome where they live? No, North of the Wall sucks. No one likes living there. They're desperate to get south, not just because there are ice zombies north of the wall, but far more importantly, because being south of the wall is their only chance of having a life where the vast majority of their children don't starve to death every winter. How do you think that Mance Rayder was able to organize hundreds of thousands of wildlings into a single army? The promise of finally, after thousands of years, that they would get a chance to end their hellish and undeserved exile. That's right, undeserved. Mance Rayder was convinced to join the wildlings because their argument, that the only difference between a wildling and a Northman was where their ancestors happened to be living when the wall went up, is true. There's no reason that the wildlings shouldn't be living in the safer, warmer areas south of the wall. Up until this moment, it's all that the characters have ever wanted. So why are they abandoning everything that they've fought and died for millennia? Are you kidding? Here's a map of Westeros. Note the tens of thousands of square miles that make up the Gift and the New Gift. Literally every wildling could have a full square mile all to themselves, and there would still be plenty of room left over. Almost no one lives in the Gift, and while there would doubtless be some tensions at the start, dealing with cultural differences is far preferable to 50-foot snowdrifts. Hell, they can have even more space than that. Remember when the Army of the Dead marched to Winterfell 1 episode ago? I imagine that all of the tiny towns between there and the wall were wiped out by the March of the Dead. Hell, we know that all of the Umbers are dead, so the wildlings can probably safely have all of the land from the wall down to Last Hearth. And since there's no Magnar of the Thens in the show, just make Tormund the head of House Giantsbane, Lord of Last Hearth, and settle his people in the almost incalculably large amount of space around it. One of the themes of this story is that the barriers people put up between one another are artificial and serve only to cause misery for everyone. Wildlings don't deserve to have short, horrible lives because of where they were born. Mance Rayder and Jon Snow both died for this belief. And suddenly, at the 11th hour, the show announces that wildlings are better off in a frozen hell because they prefer that to being alive? Screw you, Game of Thrones. Oh, and one last thing. Oh, you mean you're gonna go back north of the wall in 4 years? Does no one on this show even remember the basics of how this world works? Damn it, Game of Thrones. Come on! Okay, last thing for real this time. Why are Jon and Sam saying goodbye? Has Sam forgotten that he's the Lord of High Horn? And has some pretty huge responsibilities now that all of the Tyrells are dead? I've been the Hidden Object Guru, and I don't normally talk about Game of Thrones, but wow, this was terrible.